Hello and welcome again to this new little episode. I have received some feedback that the quality wasn't great in the previous video, and I have been whizzing through across multiple screens. The purpose of the previous video was just a demonstration of how we're doing everything in St. Lawrence's. It doesn't mean it is the only way, and it doesn't mean that you have to do it exactly the same way. So this time I will be focusing a little bit more on how to use OBS, and the best way to do it is to actually start from scratch. So I have started off with a new installation that's completely blank. As you can see, there's nothing here. So let's start by making some configuration. The most important thing that you want to do is you want to configure the audio. So you want to make sure that you are capturing the right audio. So for me, I will be capturing the sound from the speakers, which is the headset that I'm currently using. And I don't want to be audible on any of those videos. So I will make sure that the mic is disabled. However, for you, if you want to do so, you can enable it. For example, here, again, I'm going to choose this device, which is the microphone that I'm talking into. And immediately, as you see, you will find two pieces. One is the desktop audio will pop up now within the audio mixer, and you will see the mic and auxiliary input, which is my voice now, is coming across. Let's mute this now. So now this is the first scene. There is no sources. There is nothing going on. So we want to start to create sources within a scene. So in OBS, you have multiple things, multiple scene collections. So within a scene collection, you will have multiple scenes as we see here. You can create as many scenes as you want. A scene is representative of a group of sources that you want to present or project or share on your screen. So let's start with a basic scene. So what I want to do is I want to be able to share this video, this Zoom window on OBS. This is my first thing. So I will go into sources here and click this plus button. And here I will choose window capture. And I'll name it as Zoom call. So as we stand here, you will have multiple options. What would you like to capture on the screen? So for example, here it's naming window zoom.exe, which is the one that I'm talking about. However, it's showing blank. It shouldn't be showing blank. This is where we go to the capture method, in this case here, and choose Windows Graphics Capture. Lo and behold, here is the Zoom window, and this is exactly what is happening on my screen. We usually keep the client area ticked, so that would get rid of this bar at the top. So once you click it like this, it's only showing the Zoom window. However, be careful, because this is what we're seeing here, the entire window, including the interval screen and the different controls at the bottom. Obviously, we will want to trim this, and I will show you how we can do that. So let's go ahead and click OK. And now we see this is our source, and you can move it around the black canvas, against the black canvas at the back. You can also grab it from some on the side, from the corners on the side, and stretch it in and out as much as you like. Yeah. And there's another way of trimming some of the sides on the top, or on the sides, or the top and the bottom. So for example, I want to make sure that I'm hiding this even if I'm hovering over the window. So what I will do is I will press Alt button on my keyboard and the bottom here. You can see that it is starting to take different shape, and it is cropping the video like this. So let's say, for example, that this is good enough. Now, even though I'm hovering over my screen, now the control buttons are gone. So what I will do also is I will do from the top, because usually we have multiple people coming in. So I will only want to be able to see the content rather than the small icons of the people that are joining in. So this is for starter now. So we can have this fill it up within the screen, and lo and behold, this is our first scene. So let's create another scene, which is a welcoming message. So in this case, I will go into the scene, create welcome to our service. Again, this is an empty source. It doesn't have anything in it. This is why it is black. So in this case, I will start by creating a new source. And within a new source, I will say, okay, I want to add an image. Let's say that this will be a static logo for St. Lawrence's. And I will go into my images and icons. We have quite a few. So I will choose this one. And this is the first image. So I can make it as big as I want or as little as I want. Depends on your preference, really. So this is the logo. Okay, now we want a little bit more to this, more substance to it. So I will add another image. And for example, in this case, I will choose a photo of the entrance for our church. Okay, so this is our image. However, it is gigantic, so it's not fully visible. There are a couple of things that you can do. You can either go around the corners and start resizing it to as much as you like, or you can go directly right click on the image that you want to resize, choose transform, and fit to screen. This will make it jump immediately to something that can fit nicely on the screen. You will see that the logo that we have added previously is at the back. So you want it to be a little bit to the top. So let's bring this order differently. And here we're having logo and the image underneath. So what if we want to hide the logo? You can see this eye. If you click on it, it will hide it immediately, and so on and so forth. So this is a good way of creating things and starting to stitch it together. So let's add more text to it, say, welcome to St. Lawrence's. So let's come here and say, add a new source and add text. Welcome to St. Lawrence's. Yeah. And then here we will see which message that we want. So here we would like to say, welcome to our morning prayer service. You can choose which color. So for example, I would like to have, I don't know, I like the red color, so I'm going to use red for this demonstration. Okay. You can have how transparent, you can set how transparent or not transparent that content would be. And if you'd like to add some outline, which will kind of give it a little bit of a shadow, so we can make that in black to make it stand out against a white background. And let's just do this. So again, as you can see here, it's quite big. So let's resize it to put it in somewhere within our visible window. So this is welcome to our morning service, prayer service. Let's do it that way. Oops, here we go. Right. As you can see, as you start putting few elements in the background, things start to become a little bit fiddly. So instead of moving this, I end up moving the background at the that I want or not want to move, or instead of moving the logo, I'm actually moving the background. So how do I lock things in place? And the clue is in the word lock. So if you put this here as lock, lo and behold, all of a sudden these components, these two components are locked and they cannot be moved. If you want to move it, then you start to unlock it and then you can move it freely. Okay, let's lock these two in place and just fiddle about with our welcome message. All right, so it's looking okay, but we want to do something a little bit more. So we want to make an effect or a filter on the text that we're having. So I want to have, for example, this sentence to start scrolling around. So I will right click here. I'll choose filters. So, or you can right click on, right click, not double click, right click and choose filters. And then within the filters, you can choose to say, I will actually want to scroll this, make it scroll a little bit. We'll talk about the other filters, some of the other filters, which are very helpful. So in this case, so I will have a horizontal. So welcome to St. Lawrence's. Or you can combine it with going up and down, something like that, but that will be a little bit confusing, wouldn't it? So let's set this back to 0. And this is our welcome. If we shift this a little bit, now you have welcome to our morning service, and it goes and hides under the St. Lawrence's logo. Let's make a bit of a couple of spaces at the back. Welcome to our morning prayer service. So now we have two very simple things. So now we have a scene, which includes the Zoom call, which people can dial into by the phone if they do not have a smart device or don't see on YouTube or whatever your platform of choice. And also we have a simple welcome. Now, let's take this a little bit further. How about we add a bit of music for a startup? Let's use one of the old videos that we have downloaded from YouTube. So let's create a new scene, as you might have guessed, and say this is the starting hymn. Again, this is a blank scene at the moment. There is no sources in it. And let's start by creating a media source. You can have multiple devices. So you can have from browser, you can have display, you can have an image or an image slideshow, which hopefully we'll do later, and so on and so forth. This time I will choose something very simple. I will choose media source. And this is the morning music. And I'll choose the file from where I want this content to be sent out. So for example, we can start with this one, crown him with many crowns. This is actually, we went live with this as a starting hymn this Sunday. As you immediately put it, again, like any other source, what is happening, it will just try to fit it somewhere, and then it's up to you to resize it to the size that you would like it to look like. And you can see in the background in the mixer is that there is something playing. There is something in the background, right? Let's take a copy of our logo. So I'm going to do copy. And here I will put either a reference or a duplicate. A reference will make sure that if there are any changes that happen to the original, it will happen here as well. So let's use this one to, to make sure it's a consistent experience. So yeah, and here we are. So we have a welcome, we have a starting hymn, and we have the scene for the service. However, there is a big caveat to this. What I'm clicking here, as soon as I click something here, it will pop immediately on the screen of the viewers, or if you're doing a static recording in the background, it will pop up immediately. However, you want to create that little buffer between what you're clicking and what's actually on the screen. So this is why we will use this time something a little bit more, which is the studio mode. So what studio mode does is that it splits the screen between what people are seeing versus what you are seeing and what you can choose before you turn it online. So for example, this is our welcome, but this is what is live at the moment. So let's do this. And there are three types of transition. So there is cut, fade, and fade to black. Fade to black obviously just kills everything and everything is dead. Or you can choose to fade. There are also a timer for the fading, or you can use this slider. So for example, so here, this is the scene, which is my Zoom video, and this is the welcome message. So I can either move the slide gradually, and then we have that transition to the next scene, or I can use the fade button, which will automatically do that sliding within a time limit, which is in this case 300 milliseconds. That's very short. I find it very helpful to change these from 300 milliseconds to around 2 seconds, which is 2000 milliseconds. So it creates that little nice smooth transition rather than being abrupt or cut or whatever. And here you have the luxury to look around what exactly you want to show your audience before popping it on either the recording or streaming live. And this can be quite helpful in this regard. So again, quickly recap. So we started off with a scene which has our Zoom call, a window capture. We saw how we did a little tweak to make sure that it is capturing the right audio, sorry, the right video, and we cropped the content, the video, so that it hides the additional, as you can see here. Even though the controls at the bottom at the top are visible, they're not visible on my video. And we also added another scene, which is the starting music or the hymn. There's one thing you will notice is that once you start a scene, if it has a video on it, if you're, let's say for example that you are at the welcome, right? And you're waiting to start the hymn. As you can see here, the preview will not start playing the video unless you actually put it live. So this is a caveat that needs to be kind of put in the back of your head. So once you start the hymn or you start transitioning to the new scene, it will start playing the video and it will be visible here. Right. So this concludes our first quick run-through tutorial. We will look at more advanced topics on adding subtitles and more complex scenes and how we can switch multiple audio devices and so on and so forth. Next time, I reckon we will talk about that. So till then, stay safe and talk again soon.